So I am here with my friend Emily Chenevert with the Austin Board of Realtors, and she is the CEO of Austin Board of Realtors, ABoR.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to hang out with you.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited. So I want to go over kind of a variety of subjects. Oh, by the way, this is going to be a podcast that I'm starting pretty soon. So,
okay, sweet.
Yeah, I'll need some direction from you on that one.
We can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first, let's talk about the Austin Board of Realtors, right?
Okay.
So it's been a crazy couple of years, right?
Yep.
And for those who don't know, starting I think in 2017, there was a little bit of an upset with Austin Board of Realtors.
That's putting it nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A group of real estate agents, some would say prominent, petitioned the membership to be on the board of directors.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
The CEO at the time resigned before the end of the year.
Right.
Right. The board of directors at the time made you an interim CEO.
Right.
And then shortly after, they made you permanent CEO.
The new board did. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So what all have you seen occur? And because I think you guys are getting a lot of engagement, you're getting a lot of press. People we went through a year of like really negative press to largely positive press.
Yeah.
What all have you accomplished in that time?
Yeah. Well, I guess I would say it's been a lesson in when you hit your bottom, you can only go up from there. Mm-hmm. But also when you hit your bottom, it kind of frees you up to be pretty transparent and genuine. And I think that that's the biggest difference in ABoR is that my style of leadership, me personally, but also just the team that I work with, the leadership team that I work with is one that is super focused on just being authentic. Mm-hmm. And so the biggest changes have been we're just really real with our members.
Yeah.
And you see that in our communication style now. You see that in the tenor of the way that we're trying to work with our members, engaging them differently, having them more in the fold in our decision making. Mm-hmm. You see it from the board leadership. You know, your time on the board was spent just kind of owning your decisions, and the big ones and the small ones.
Yeah.
And I think that it's led to an association that's just really striving to be a community, but one that's not afraid to like shake it up and try new things.
Right. And I think, one of the things that happened was, the board at the time changed the way that the members could run for board of directors, right? And I think it was, I'm not sure if this is the right analogy, but it was more of a republic, and now it's more of a democracy, right?
Yeah, like it was prior, it was a traditional nominating process where people got moved forward through a vetting process that was not faulty necessarily, but different.
Yeah.
And so our values now are that we want the membership to choose. We want them to have direct involvement in who serves them in those leadership capacities. And we want them to do that, knowing full and well who whether they're qualified or not, giving them exposure to the candidates and what they're about. But it's an election, and it changes the dynamic of the accountability between that leadership and the members. But it also changes the dynamic of like just the perception of ABoR is that it's more member driven by virtue of we're choosing who sits in those seats.
Right. And before it was like, okay, if you wanted to be on the board of directors, you would go through.
It could take years.
It took years. You go through these committees.
Have to really wheel yourself up to that.
Yeah, and I think that kind of eliminated a lot of people that are really bright, that want to put that time commitment in, and kind of the negativity that we heard at the time was, okay, well, it's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I had argued that, like, okay, maybe it should be a popularity contest, because when you're, when you're in high school, a popularity contest is about you're good looking and play sports.
Right.
But when you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, it's about your accomplishments in business.
Yeah.
And so,
easy for you to say cool kid, but
yeah, but I was not a cool kid, right? So
I think you're right. I mean, I think there's been positive and negative aspects to that popularity contest question.
Yeah.
I do think that we have to be careful that we continue to achieve balance, but so far the members have chosen, and we've got great balance in the boardroom. And so I think even in just our most recent election, 5 new directors coming in represent very diverse interests, different demographics, different backgrounds, different interests in the marketplace. So it's working for us.
Yeah.
You know, and at the point that we feel like it's not, then we go back, you know, to that conversation and we tweak and adjust as we need to.
Right. And let's talk about, and I know you're very humble about your accomplishments. You know, transparency is, you know, that's kind of the softball answer. But let's talk about the engagement.
Yeah.
You know, the engagement on your social media. You have Clarissa, who is amazing.
Yeah, we've got a just kick-ass team. I mean, you know, the truth is we have upped our game in terms of the professional staff that we have working with our membership, but we've also just like doubled down on creating opportunity to be in community with our membership.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it went from 18 to 19, 2018 to 2019, the number of opportunities that we had to engage our membership increased fourfold at least.
Nice.
Which sounds 4 times more sounds great. It's a lot though when you think about the operational impact of managing that many more events, that many more opportunities to talk to a member. And not only did we do it, but then we measured it and said, now was this successful or not, and how do we tweak moving forward? And we're trying to be just really deliberate about when it works for you, a member. I want to do it all day long for you.
And the other thing you did is, you know, you have a strategic plan, right? And you brought education that matters back into the board, right? In terms of not just your, you know, CE, but also, you know, operational, useful things. You know, agents don't need to know, you know, to pass a test, they need to know how many cubic feet or a yard or whatever, right? But you're bringing real life, you know, speakers to us on Board of Realtors.
So what you've seen is at the tail end of this year, we announced that we're going to start offering free renewal education as part of your membership dues. So either online or in the classroom beginning January 2020, we're going to cover your bases on the basics. Because you have to have that done anyway. But we're doing that with the expectation that this other programming that we're bringing you, opportunities to hear from the CEO of Cap Metro, like I did today, about Project Connect and the future of our transportation plans in Austin, or opportunities to know more about the land use code, because that's going to impact every one of you. We're bringing you those opportunities, and we have the expectation that you take advantage of it and that you learn from that and then put it in play for your client.
That's amazing. You know, I think with regards to, it's like, you know, agents before this, at least this is my thought on it, right? Was like, if we wanted to know about different subjects, different education, we went outside of the board. That's the only place to go. So I think that's a huge accomplishment.
Well, I appreciate that.
Let's talk about the campaign. All right. Getting shit done.
We like to get shit done.
We like to get shit done. And then I think, didn't Inman nominate you guys for an award for that?
We were nominated for 4 Innovator Awards this year, which was crazy.
We got a little tiny bit of backlash on that.
Right, like 4 people emailed and said that they were good. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, we had some people who felt uncomfortable with that new tenor and tone in our communication,
which was bleeped out, by the way.
But you know, we did it because we needed to mark. You know, I needed the clap at the beginning of a podcast that says this is where we're going to start, because we had to really wipe our slate clean. And I think for us, there's no more authentic than that, to go from like such rigid speak as an organization, so structured, so carefully put together, to like, I'm just going to get some shit done and will you join me? Was very, very much.
It's attention grabbing.
And it was indicative of who we wanted to be. You know? And so we did it, and we'll back off now, you know? But our tenor stays.
Maybe not.
No. But our tenor stays the same. I mean, we want to be casual. We want to be in communication with you in the way that you and I are talking now. And still professionally, you know, still with a professional tone, because that is an expectation that we all share. But it said something different.
And I can tell you, because, you know, I'm not on the board of directors anymore, and I saw the emails, and I looked up the production of the people that were sending emails, and they were not getting shit done.
You know, everybody's metric for getting shit done is different.
I know.
But that's good. I like it.
Okay, and you have a kick butt podcast, right?
Yeah, you've been a guest, which
Yeah.
is so odd. You're my only local guest, Ryan, so
nice.
far. So
Yeah.
don't yell at me, Austin members. But yeah, it's been a fun, just like passion project for me.
Yeah.
I like to talk, obviously, but it's been cool to kind of talk about some of these big national trends that I see when we travel at large
Yeah.
and we're at conference, and try to bring them closer to our everyday member that's not always going to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and aside from me, there have been some really good guests.
Yeah, we had the CEO of Redfin was
Yeah.
on there, and we've got the CEO of Remax is coming up soon, and
Yeah.
so we've got some big names, and then some unique stuff like this awesome doctor, pediatrician out of Boston, who says that she believes that housing is as important in a child's health development as a vaccination, as a vaccine.
Wow.
That it is the equivalent of that in terms of their health outcomes,
Yeah.
which is just, think about how powerful it is that you have the ability to help a child in the same way that a polio vaccine does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy, right?
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, I want to switch gears just a little bit, and let's talk about the MLS rules.
Yeah.
What is it called?
So it's a clear cooperation policy.
Uh-huh.
Is a new one that was passed by the National Association of Realtors Board of Directors just a few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or Policy 8.0.
Yeah.
And it says that any listing that is publicly marketed must be entered into the MLS within 24 hours. Period.
Yeah.
And it defines publicly marketing as anything outside of office exclusive activities. So a sign in the yard, putting that listing in a private listing network, putting it on social media, really anything outside of I've just shopped it within my office is considered public.
Right, and so this is really big news in real estate. There are agents across the country. It's
big.
very polarizing.
Yeah.
It passed, with a great majority.
Pretty overwhelmingly.
Which my question is, so who votes on that?
Yeah, okay, so it started in a committee called the Industry and Business Trends Committee. They moved it to the MLS Policy Committee. That committee voted it and said, do it, we want to proceed with this. The executive team of NAR is the leadership, the officers.
Mm-hmm.
They get to review any motion before it goes to the board at large. And so they reviewed it and they sent it forward. And then the whole board of directors for NAR voted on it and overwhelmingly passed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
despite questions about it.
Despite a lot of questions about
Yeah.
it. And for my perception of it, I see both good and bad.
Yeah.
As a broker, the self-serving part of me as a broker and a marketer is bummed out about it, right? So we were talking about, how the benefit could occur where large brokerages have an advantage, and there's no time limit on how long they can.
It could live office exclusive for whatever amount of time.
Yeah.
But if it's going, but the intent there is to say, look, if it's going to be in the MLS, put it in the MLS.
Yeah.
Put it where everybody can see it, and that is a fair flip side to this conversation.
I get that. Here would be my concern is like, okay, so the office is supposed to have it,
Yep.
but no one in the office is supposed to let their client know about it. Is that what do they say about that?
No. It can be shared with their clients. It's just that it's not to be marketed with other agents outside of the office. So
yeah, I take issue with that.
If I'm your client, right,
Yeah.
and I say, and this rule is implemented purely with no other, exemptions or anything. I don't want my listing on the MLS, Ryan.
Yeah.
Great. Then what that means, Emily, is as a participant of the MLS, I'm going to market your listing within my office only, and you'll have limited exposure. And you'll need to walk your client through that because there's liability and not. There's liability in that today. Realtors need to be walking their clients through all of their marketing options with full understanding of what the exposure of the MLS is versus the exposure of limited marketing, all the things.
And kind of the flip side of that, is that who would want that?
Yeah, but I, in a non-disclosure state like Texas,
Yeah.
where I think there is consumer sensitivity to sales price, there are clients who say, I want the privacy of not having my listing go into the MLS.
Well, right, and we're talking luxury. Okay. I
is
know.
it? You tell me. You're a practitioner.
I mean, for the most part, it's luxury.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get that. My whole thing is that I part of me on one side, I worry that some agents are going to try and do this and not inform their sellers, but a well-run brokerage is going to be like, this is not cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, our job as the MLS is to figure out how to take the policy, interpret it. There's flexibility.
There is flexibility
in the rules and in the way that we can interpret that policy in terms of compliance, like what penalties would be in place, stuff like that. And then it's also our job to help you guys mitigate your risk as we implement it. So there will be best practices to how you engage your clients in this conversation. There are best practices for that today.
Yeah.
And you and I both know there are good actors and bad actors when it comes to risk in this industry.
Yeah.
So like any policy, it's going to be really complex. Our board of directors, all board of directors, had some time to really think about the way that they want to implement it, because we've got through May of next year, but there are going to be some tough questions. You know, we had a coming soon status in Austin, and we got rid of it because it created more chaos than it did solve our problems. And so
maybe now.
But in this policy, I've got to give you a make ready period, right?
Yeah.
If you take the listing, it needs to go in the MLS within 1 business day.
Yeah.
So you probably need a coming soon space in the MLS to do make ready when that's a requirement.
Yeah.
So there are going to be some new challenges that we have to overcome to figure out what to do next.
Yeah. Well, that wraps it up for us. Just so you know, follow Emily on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Yeah, it's M Chenevert, EMCHENEVERT.
Okay, and I can say that because I'm from Louisiana.
That's right.
And then Scratch That is the podcast.
Yeah, Scratch That podcast on all the places podcasts are released. I would love to have your guests, and I can't wait to share this one.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.